Mama say, Mama Sama, Mama Musa. Just want to make sure that everybody could hear me. Before I do anything, I want to apologize to my Facebook family for you guys not being able to see me last week. But if you're hard-headed behinds, follow my instruction and go to YouTube. The people on YouTube says, yes, of course there's a chat tonight. I'm always here. Come on now, come hella high water. I'm going to be here. So here we go, 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 here we go. How y'all doing, people? I got a couple minutes, so I wanted to sign on early just in case I had any technical difficulties, be it audio or video. So everybody that can hear me, yeah. What's going on, people? Yeah, I feel like what's so funny is I was in New Orleans when the Trouble Funk came out, and then a couple years later, I moved to DC and I realized that it was part of the Go-Go. And that whole Trouble Funk thing. So anyway, I'm just kind of bugging right now while we're waiting on a couple people to come here, come there. I saw last week I had the little halo. I told a couple people that I was angelic, but y'all didn't believe me until y'all saw my halo. Now y'all know. So how's everybody doing? I'm just kind of bugging a little bit. I was going through some of my stuff here. Folks, I'm going to be honest with you. My shows, I thought at the beginning of this year, my shows would get easier because once we had the despicable one out of office, I figured we would get to a little bit more law and order. And granted, this is only the third week, the fourth week, almost the fourth week of the year, but things are still crazy as all outdoors. So it is what it is. And I got a shirt that says that, and I refuse to wear that damn shirt, because I think it should be what we make it. You know what I mean? So anyway, yeah. We here. I'm here. How y'all doing? How you doing? How your mama now? How your cousin now? Who cooked tonight? I was up last night about midnight making stuffed bell peppers. I put them in the oven somewhere before midnight, and I got them out the oven somewhere a little after midnight. And as soon as they cool, I had to taste one. Okay, I'll tell you the truth. I tasted a couple. So I just want to make sure that there's no problems as far as Facebook is concerned. Everybody can hear me, right? Give me a thumbs up, Facebook. Give me a thumbs up. Everybody that was on YouTube say that Facebook just doesn't want me to be great. So I want to make sure that you guys can hear me. Just keep coming at me. Coming at me. Yeah. Yeah, Brain is in the house. What are we doing tonight, Brain? The same thing we do every night, Panky. Try to take over the world. I think somebody's trying to beat me to it, though. How's everybody doing? Let me go ahead and get started. Look like I'm going to get started on time tonight. Just want to say, first of all, good evening and welcome to the show. As always, I'm your host. I really, 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 really appreciate you spending your Thursday night with me. My name, as everybody knows, is Hank Batiste. I'm also known as the Renaissance Man, or Rennie for short. My show is called I Got Something to Say, so it must be true. As I always say, I'm the host for the night, but the voices in my head, tonight they're democratically pissed. What must we as the people do to get our elected officials to do our will? Damn it, we want our country back now, people. I really hate being right when it comes to the politics, but I knew what was ahead, and I just knew that Chuck and Nancy were not strong enough, and I'm not taking anything from them. I'm just saying the sign of the time takes a different type of leadership. We've got a 51-50 advantage in the Senate, and if you didn't know better, you would swear that Mitch was still in control. We know what would happen if the GOP had a 51-50 majority. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. They'd be pushing cabinet members through. They'd already have the cabinet members in place. They'd be pushing so-called conservative judges around the country through Congress, and we'd be force-fed policies and their just us agenda. Tonight, we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about double standards. We're going to talk about playing by the rules. We're also going to talk about what happens when the Constitution no longer applies and a one-trick pony named Moscow Mish. We're also going to talk about some radical white groups like QAnon, and I hate giving them oxygen to breathe, but the fact is they're a force that has to be reckoned with, because they have openly invaded not only the Republican Party, but Congress, And lastly, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly of COVID. Tonight's show, folks, is called 2021, or 2021, New Year, a new administration, and new obstructionists. So I've got something to say. Let's omit the logic, because it never makes sense, and do this. Some of you folks did not get a chance to see the spoken word poem that I wrote about the inauguration. When I watched the inauguration, I had a mix of emotions. So I realized that I wasn't the only one. And I wound up putting pen to paper, and I wrote this piece. I did it on YouTube, and I posted it on Facebook, but I guess Facebook really does not want me to be great. So the picture would never post with it. So it just looked like something benign. So I'm going to try to do it again tonight. I don't know how it's going to come out, but here goes. As I watched the inauguration, I was bombarded with a plethora of convoluted emotions. I felt proud to be Black. Suddenly, being Black is in vogue, but I'm Black in a country that refuses to see me, that denies me as its native son. I felt overjoyed that the run was over for the delusional, the despicable, the orange one. I felt melancholy for all the friends and family that we collectively lost. I felt my burdens or my premonitions and my Creole powers came at much too high a cost. I felt like a fallen tree in a great forest that had no sound. I felt a tempestuous urge to violently silence and strike down domestic terrorists as numerous threats still abound. I felt like I had to sound a muted scream of promise as loud as my COVID-filled lungs would muster. I felt like I wanted to run to an unknown place, an unknown destination, to escape the cluster of formidable enemies cloaked in an invisible cape of lies, deceit, and hate. I felt a strange release as tears welled in my eyes and they rolled down my face. But I felt too scared to celebrate as I tried to make sense of, I have a dream, whatever it takes. And by any means necessary, by any means necessary. Are you friend? Are you foe? Are you family, or are you adversary? I felt the overwhelming burdens of all those that came before. I felt the gut-wrenching pain of 420,000 needless lives lost, of Black Lives Matters who are no more. I felt with all that I do, no matter what I say, the message still falls on deaf ears. I felt the 30,000 terrorists that assaulted my consciousness would never pay, no matter the offense. The true culprits would time, fade, and evade and lie their way to wreak havoc on yet another day. As the PTSD of being assaulted for not knowing my place conspired with my PTSD of being Black too soon to be celebrated on that AKA Howard Bison stage of Biden promises for a better today, as Brutus and the killers hid in plain sight. I tried to bask in the man's hope. I tried with all my might, but I've been to the mountaintop. I've seen promises reneged. I'm a contradictory, cynical optimist who's an enigmatic realist. Oh, how I wish I could succumb to this day's joy. This moment of hopeful bliss that Weldon wrote about when he said, lift every voice and sing. But why, oh, why must I wait till heaven rain? I tried, don't worry, be happy. I tried with every ounce of my being and with all my might, but I'm still driving while Black on a suspended license. The year 2020 was a tumultuous, an unfair, a relentless reminder. As I beamed with pride, I recognized ain't a damn thing about 2020. That's 2020 in hindsight. Folks, I know I'm not the only one feeling this convolution. I know I'm not the only one feeling conflicted. I know I'm not the only one who felt a sudden release only to feel more trepidation and fear for the unknown. So I'm gonna try to just move on. Let me just say this. Let's skip all the bullshit. I admire the fact that Joe Biden is trying to govern for everybody, even those who didn't vote for him. But, conjunction, there are about 3 million people who have convinced themselves that the election was rigged. It's like 10% of this population, the nation's population, are pathological liars taking a polygraph test. Even though we know they're lying, we have to accept the fact that somehow they would pass that test. Why? Because pathologically, they've told us lie to themselves and to others so many times that they've convinced themselves that that lie is true. Then there's Congress and the GOP, the GOP, grand old party. Mitch McConnell wants to be in power so badly that he'll align himself with anyone just to have the numbers to be in power. Again, Biden is banking on their history of working on a hill. Biden is somehow wishing that Moscow Mitch will work with him to end COVID, jumpstart the economy, and as President Biden has said numerous times, build back better for the soul of this country. Problem is, Mitch could give a shit. He could care less. Mitch is a master manipulator and wields his power to keep other GOP and doing his bidding so that he stays in power. And he don't care about collateral damage. So when we see what's happening, when we see him stand up on the congressional floor and condemn Trump for the part that he played in this, they call it insurrection. I call it a failed coup attempt because they were ready to kill the Speaker of the House, to hang the Vice President, and steal the country. If that's not a coup, I don't know what is. So now they're saying, let's get over it. Let's get over it. It's time to start the healing. But Pelosi is saying it's a hostile work environment. Today, I saw something on the news that the 4 people that were responsible for kidnapping and killing the journalist Daniel Pearl were being released. FYI, Daniel Pearl was a journalist who was caught and eventually beheaded on camera, and it caused this huge outrage. But my problem is, how can they be so concerned not taking anything from Daniel Pearl, because I understand what his family was feeling? How could they be so outraged about the loss of one when close to 30,000 people tried seizing the country and 5 people that we know of died? How can Congress pretend to be so outraged when it's a foreign terrorist group, but when it's something that happened on domestic shores by some of their own, they say, let's just move on? It's been 3 weeks now. Every September the 11th, they're telling us, lest we forget. This was not bin Laden. This was not Al Qaeda. This was not ISIS that went to the Capitol steps, that killed people and tried to assassinate the president and the Speaker of the House. This was so-called Americans on the orders of some people who just want power. So they manipulate other people. They radicalize Americans that become extremists and work as terrorists. But now they want to tell us, let's just get over it. Now, we're talking about erecting these permanent fences on the mall around Capitol Hill, not for foreign terrorists, for Americans. Kevin McCarthy met with Donald Trump today here in Florida and asked him to support him and so that they could take over the House again. This crazy ass woman from Georgia. See, Georgia is a microcosm of what's happening in the world. We got 2 Democratic senators from Georgia. So what happens? This resurgence of this hate. Now the Georgia legislature, and I'm mad, so my tongue is getting thick. Now the Georgia legislature is talking about redoing lines. Why? So that they can negate some of this populist vote in urban areas. But the problem is, it's not just urban areas anymore. It's not just Fulton County anymore. Now it's Henry County. Now it's DeKalb. Now it's Cobb County. Now it's Gwinnett County. So try as they might, but you got this crazy woman who carries a gun on the congressional floor. And rumor has it that she's threatened Nancy's life. One thing is for sure, she's caught on tape talking about Nancy Pelosi and other enemies of the state should get a bullet in the brain. She's a known member of QAnon. And somehow, in spite of that, she was still elected to the House of Representatives. And when they try to censor her, she says, she put out in grand Trump fashion and grand delusional, despicable fashion, she put out a press release that says they're trying to silence her because she's working for the people. What people? The 10% of the quacks? The 10% of those hateful ass people who don't want to see diversity, who don't want to see anything but themselves? This is not Al Qaeda. This is not Bin Laden. These are white extremist groups with known members serving in Congress. Kevin McCarthy wants to be Speaker of the House so bad. Instead of censoring her, instead of doing something to squash it, to evict the hate from the Republican Party, he comes down and sees Trump. And then he appoints Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene is her name. So if you live in her district, you need to get her ass out. He appoints her to the Education Commission. Now, what's wrong with that? She's also caught on camera berating some students that came to Congress before she was elected, mind you, that came to Congress to lobby Congress about stricter gun laws. After this rash of school shootings and what have you, she is literally walking behind these kids, shouting insanities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How the hell did she slip through and get elected? Is it not time that we eradicate these demagogues that do nothing but stir hate? And they wonder why I'm so incensed. Now Pelosi is feeling the heat because I call her Maniac Marjorie. Maniac Marjorie carries a gun on a house floor. And like I said, she's threatened Pelosi and others. She's refused to go through the metal detector saying, yes, I have this. Yes, I have a gun. And no, I will not be. They're telling her there's no need for it. That's what we have Capitol Hill police for. But this is where we are. And Kevin McCarthy in grand Mitch McConnell fashion wants to be Speaker of the House, that he's willing to make whatever deals he has to so that he can have the numbers and unseat Pelosi as Speaker of the House. People, I feel like Popeye. I've had all I can stand and I can't stand no more. I'm looking through this thing today and I saw Publix supermarket chain gave $100,000 to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who is a staunch Trump supporter. And now they've become the exclusive provider of the COVID vaccine. Now, I'm almost sure, somebody can fact check me on this, but I'm almost certain that Publix was one of the companies that stood with Trump saying that COVID was not as serious as it was. But I know for certain that there were some outbreaks within the store here locally. And in the county that I live in, I'm a little cavalier because we have some of the lowest numbers, not only in the state, but in the country. So I'm a little cavalier and I tend to stick close to home for that specific reason. But my problem is this. If you were against all of this COVID relief and you believe that it was just something to unseat Trump, then why are you even seeking to become the exclusive? This is what leads to more conspiracy theories, and it piques people's hair on their neck. It makes the hair on your neck stand. You said, how come the company that was supporting Trump is now trying to, are they really, you get me? So I don't know. But it looks a little fishy from where I sit. I know it's a revenue stream. I know they're going to make money, but on the flip side, you don't know what you're getting. You don't know if the vaccine is being stored at the temperature that it's supposed to, or what. So it just leads and add to the conspiracy theories that abound. And right now, we really don't need that. We need everybody being of one accord, if it's possible, so that we can eradicate this virus as this starts to mutate, mind you. No grocery store chain, period, especially when you got places like CVS and Walgreens and all of these other drugstores that usually give the flu vaccination. So they have some infrastructure in place that we can ramp up and make sure that we can accommodate given these, and we can trust them a little bit more. Politics should have no place in medicine, but then again, neither should business. That's my 5 cents. Moving on. My Creole powers have been on point, and I hate it. I really hate it. I've been right about so much that I hate it. But believe me when I say this. Despicable Donnie, delusion of Donnie will continue to strong arm the GOP because he loves the attention. And Mitch can't do a damn thing to contain this monster that he's given life to. Remember, Frankenstein monster always kills its creator. So it's coming. The first civil war in Congress will be within the Republican Party as Mitch tries to control this bunch of closet racists who have now know that it's almost productive to be openly racist. They have a group of other racists now who are willing to do whatever it takes. They're the foot soldiers. They're the 30,000 that you can just tell them we're going to march to the Capitol and we're going to take back our country. And they go, yeah. We will see others just like Mish who have historically put their personal ambitions above the needs of the country. I always talk about being called to serve and looking at it as a money-making venture. A lot of these people couldn't afford to buy a pack of gum before they go to Congress. Within 2 years, they're multimillionaires. So I got into the spirited debate with a friend of mine, and I says, it's not the Democrats or the Republicans because these corporations make sure that money is equally spread around to keep the argument going and that there are never any solutions. Yeah, the politicians speak, they talk a good talk. They talk a good game when it's time to be reelected. But they're drinking from the same corporate water fountain, from the same corporate well. So nothing is ever really going to change. So we're going to see these people who put their personal ambitions above the little morals that they possess. And now they're going to become more numerous, sadly. We're going to see that the Dems are going to have to stop playing nice and realize that they're in a dogfight and fight to win, play to win. All of this, we're going to be the bigger guys. We're going to go high while they go low. No. You go high and they cut your ankles and knees out from under you. So you're in a dogfight, Democrats. Behave as such. Biden is using his power of executive order, but he better start putting judges on the bench to undo judges before it's too late. Forget what anyone says. You better start stacking the Supreme Court, because decisions will never go his way. If accountability and oversight is not implemented sooner than later, sooner than yesterday, President Biden will not only have a dismal first 100 days, QAnon and other extremist groups are going to further infiltrate governments around the country, and the Constitution will be no more. Remember, folks, short and sweet tonight. It's dismal enough, so there's no need to beat you over the head with it. We got to do something about these people who are filled with hate, these people who feel like making America great means that there can't be any black females, can't be any black secretaries of state. There can't be any more blacks on the Supreme Court, or Hispanics on the Supreme Court, or anyone who doesn't think like they think. So before you hear it anyone else, remember you heard it here first. That's all I got for you tonight, folks. As always, go to my YouTube channel, sign up, hit subscribe, and hopefully my Facebook people, y'all could hear me. You still could hear me? See you next week here, people. Same Baptiste time, same Baptiste place. As always, imparting love, peace, and hair grease. I'm out here, people. Thank you again for your time. Thank you again for your attention. Thank you again for being here for me. Hopefully, I gave you something that you could work with. Good night.